Maybe not boyfriend.
No, still not.
Good.
It's alright.
Got a couple of laughs.
Yeah.
You got a couple of laughs? Did you want a couple of laughs?
Yeah.
Good. Alright. People laugh and not want to.
I made them.
You made them laugh. Good. Good. Good times.
Yeah, yeah, I was glad.
Why?
She was good. She was good when she was about to cry.
How do you think that feels now?
I just kept saying Monday. I kept nodding like that.
Where's Monday? Monday was that?
Yeah, just give it.
I didn't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I sent them copy and I just was busy.
Just so natural.
Jess?
Thank you.
So you're going to be judging it? You're going to be marking it? Yeah?
This is great, Dobbin. So the man behind us here. Like, listen to what he has to say.
Morning, everyone. Does that mean everyone can hear me? Can you understand me? See, that's what I said. I didn't want to laugh at that point. How did the guys do this morning?
Brilliant.
Really good. I met Lucy a few months ago at another networking event, as we call them. And she said to me, would you like to come in and maybe speak to the guys and help the guys out with a few things? I didn't know what Peter Jones Academy was about. And when I did a little bit of research and did a little bit of Googling, that's my research, I came across that quote. And that really, I don't know, that just sort of resonated with me. You know, the nature versus nurture type of debate. And I'm a trainer. I work with lots of different organisations, charities, businesses, on a whole load of things from team building and leadership management, but also work with reluctant salespeople. People that need to sell, but don't like selling. And we seem to have an awful lot of those now with all the small businesses and everything coming out. So I had a little look at that and thought, this works for me. That we actually make people. Now it's not like The Sopranos where you become a made man. Okay, and that's a little bit more scary. But how we actually give these people, because it's not about skills. It's not just about skills. Skills aren't enough. We can all learn lots and lots of different things. And one of the stories that Lucy and I spoke about was a couple of years ago I was asked to go across to South Africa. And I was asked to go across and train some young adults, and we were told it was a back to work programme. So we went across and it was a township. Anybody's got any familiar with what a township looks like? If you're really good and if you're quite rich, you've got a breeze block room. Everything else was corrugated huts. And we were asked to go. Now, the guys that booked us to go across, we told them what we were going to do with the students, and they seemed really happy with it, but they were reluctant to tell us 2 or 3 different answer questions that were quite evasive. When we got there the first day, we found out why. The first point was that none of them had actually worked. So it wasn't a back to work, it was a readiness to work. There was a huge difference, and anybody who works in that field will know there is a huge difference. The second thing was, they told us that the previous year's matriculation from school, all the school leavers, 12 months later, 98% of them were still unemployed or not in education. They were needs, what we call as needs. Not in employment, education or training, nothing. 98%. Can you get your head around that figure? So we did what any good trainers would do. We bought a case of beer. We owned a laptop, thought we better start rewriting. So we had 30 young adults for 4 weeks, and we had material we thought, this just isn't going to work. So we spent the first week and a half kicking, shoving, poking, bullying, doing everything we could to get them to realise what they were good at, what they could offer, and get some attitude and belief just going there. Because they're not good at knowing what we do ourselves, are we? No? Tell you what, if I asked any woman in here, if I went up to you and said, that's a really nice blouse or a jumper, how many of you were going to get, it's alright, it was only £7 at a Primark. Yeah, we can't even take a compliment, far less be really confident about what we're good at. So we really shoved these guys, but again, that wasn't enough. Because giving them belief's one thing, but if there's no outlet for it, there was nowhere else they could go. So, I get in the car and I go around and see as many local employers as possible. And I said to them, I know there's no jobs, understand that, but give me 1 or 2 hours. Just give me 1 or 2 hours and interview these guys. They're prepared so well. And 100% of employers said yes. So they did. So we put all these guys through interviews, and I suppose the result on it was a year later, 75% of our group were employed, or they were in full-time education at universities in Johannesburg and Pretoria. Complete shift, a complete change. It's not just one level, and if that works, that's the guys there. They were absolutely made up. They're all on my Facebook, so I'm getting regular updates. They tell me what they're doing. So it's not just about that. I keep on telling them that they need to be curious. One of the other guys that I've worked with, I worked at Ricky Hatton's gym, as you can see, obviously. No? See, that's another bit I didn't want to laugh at. I work with a professional boxer. Anybody like boxing in here? Right, okay, 1 or 2. Whether you like boxing or not, would it be fair to say that if a boxer broke his hand, it would be an issue? Yeah? This guy done it twice in 18 months. So we got this big gig on Sky, and it was being advertised everywhere. It was down in London at Olympia, 7,000 sellout. This was a big deal, really big deal. So he was training morning and afternoon, and he was coming to see me 3 nights a week. And we were just focusing, you heard it through the Olympics, you hear it in the Commonwealth Games about sports people needing to be ready. The mindset needs to be right. So we're getting things done. So on the Tuesday, he was fighting on the Friday. On the Tuesday, I sat with him, I thought, he'd been brilliant. So I looked at him and I said, look, are you confident for Friday? And he went, because I just ask a boxer a question, that's what he'll do. He went, Graham, I'm 100%. And I thought, Graham, you're good. It's all down to me, isn't it? So I said, tell me again. And he went, Graham, I'm 110%. And I thought, Graham, you're really good. But there was just something that wasn't quite right, so I changed how I asked the question. I said, you're 110% confident that you're going to win on Friday. Now, let me see if you can spot what you did. He went, oh yes. Anybody spot it? Get that little niggle. Anybody got a voice in their head? No? I've got a whole room full of people going, no, I don't know if I do have a voice in my head. I'm not going to tell them that, no. I was really cheesed off when I found out everybody had a niggle. Can you imagine what these guys were going through? About standing up in front of you. Did you have a few niggles? 1 or 2? We've all got them. And it's about how we deal with them. And we've all heard stories. Basically, I said to the boxer, I said, what was that? He said, what was what? I said, what was that? He says, I don't know, and burst into tears. So here I've got a professional boxer 3 days before the biggest fight he's had in 3 years, a British title holder, and he's sitting in tears in my office, and I'm supposed to boost his confidence. So we worked on it, we got him in. But everybody was forgetting about, he had the skills in the ring. There was no doubt about that. Getting him in the ring was actually the biggest issue. And we've all heard stories about adversity and people coming over it, haven't we? If you're on Facebook, you'll have heard them every single day. Is anybody on Facebook? 3 people? How many motivational quotes do you get in a day? Oh, they're fantastic, aren't you? They just set you up. We need to be a little bit more than that, and it's not just about having belief and having that second level. I keep on telling these guys they need to be curious. They need to be really, really nosy about what the options are, and what's good and bad, and what the opportunities. And what we're talking about now is the opportunities in this room today. I'm going to stick, if we've got sound, I'm going to stick something. I'll let me stick it back. Just want to play, if we can get some sound on this, just want to show you something about opportunities. We go?
Yeah, let's give it a try now. No, still no.
Well, I'll hum it.
Yeah.
Does anyone who else that works at the college know how to work this thing better than I do?
No. Right.
I do apologise for that.
Okay. Let me describe who this guy is. It was really nice as well. It was Vivaldi and it was summer. I thought it'd be nice and uplifting on a January morning. This guy's called a guy called Joshua Bell. Has anybody heard of Joshua Bell? He's one of the top violinists in the world. He's absolutely outstanding. People pay hundreds of dollars to go and see him. And pay hundreds of dollars to go and see him. He played the Carnegie Hall in New York at 18. He's worth tens of millions. This is him just a few years ago. They put a baseball cap on him, and they put a... Oh no, there's all these things happening here. Put a baseball cap and an old sweatshirt and put him on the underground, the metro station in Washington, and got him to busk for a morning at rush hour. We've got... Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to hear him or me?
Oh no, still no.
Dun, 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 dun.
It was very good, I heard it yesterday. Sorry.
He put on the metro station. So he busked for an hour, 45 minutes in the morning. Any idea how much he made?
$25.
Oh, just 32 bucks. Now, by his reckoning, if he didn't have to pay an agent and fly all over the world, that's not a bad earning. $40 an hour would work out. He got over 1,000 people walk past him, and only about 6 or 7 stopped. One woman, if you actually see the full footage of it, one woman just standing for about half an hour because she paid to see him about 3 nights before. She was absolutely the opportunity to stand and listen to one of the best people just walk past. He said that the most difficult part was in between pieces where he stopped. And people walked past him, and that was it. Or they didn't even look at him. That was the hardest part for him. What other people didn't realise was that violin, it's only worth $3.2 million. We weren't curious enough. Sometimes we just walk past things and there's opportunities right around us, and we do this in business all the time. I'm going to give you a health warning here. I'm not paid by LinkedIn. I don't do LinkedIn training. I just want to use this as an example. I checked last night. I've got 725 first level. Who's on LinkedIn? Most people? Excellent. I've got 725 first level contacts. How many do you think they know? How many people do you think they're connected to? 725 people.
Ultimately, probably go back.
What's their first levels?
You have about 10 million with 725, don't you?
Quite. You're at 220,000.
Yeah, because that...
Yeah, but they're second and third and fourth.
Yeah.
So technically, I'm sort of one phone call away from 220,000 people, really. That's the kind of opportunities that are out there. We all talk about building relationships. I could spend all my time just looking at this and on building relationships and building opportunities for myself. 725 seems quite a lot, but I do a lot of networking and run networking groups. Have you all been to networking meetings before? Yeah? How many of them are a big room of people trying to sell to a big room of people who don't want to buy?
Yeah, most of them. Yeah.
Most of them. You don't talk about building relationships, do they? You get people that are running up and, are you worthwhile speaking to? Will you buy from me? No, you won't. Next. And you see it. I see it all the time. I call that premature solicitation. They're not building any relationships. And what we want to do today is understand how these guys can help and how you guys can help these guys. because if you're not spending any time with Lucy, I think you need to. What's going on here is fantastic. These guys have been absolutely superb. Honestly, I've spent, a couple of sessions with them in the last week. They've been absolutely fantastic. And some of the ideas that I know have probably not come out already. But if you ask them one-to-one and give them a nudge and a shove, I'm sure they'll be more than happy to talk about it. Is that fair? Yes, Graham. Yeah. So, I think the whole thing in what Lucy's asked me to do today is just get everybody thinking. I want you to think, is the equivalent of your $3.2 million violin sitting in this room? Is there a relationship here that you can build on? If anybody wants to link in with me, do it. I'm not difficult to find with a name like that. There's about 3 of us in the whole world. If you want to look at my connections and ask me to connect someone with you, tell me why and I'll see if I can do it. It's all about building relationships. Hope you have a good morning. Thank you.